a lot of the ground rules and the groundwork that needs to be done is from a legal standpoint, setting precedents so that when there's more cases that come, they can then reference the XRP case, reference BlackRock, reference Grayscale, whatever the case may be. They can, reference that from a legal standpoint and have precedents from prior cases, which we never had before. So that's why.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Wagmi TV. Huge news today in the world of crypto as Grayscale defeated the SEC in their lawsuit regarding their ETF application. Has tons of implications for the world of crypto and what we can expect moving forward, especially from the institutional standpoint. And we're here to cover it all for you. We're going to give you what happened and what it means today here on Wagmi TV. So Mata, can you kick us off on what exactly happened today?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Sam alluded to, Grayscale, right, digital asset management firm that we've talked about a bunch on this channel, they won their legal battle against the SEC. So you saw a big pump in Bitcoin today, but the whole idea here is the SEC had rejected Grayscale's application to convert its Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, or GBTC, into a spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund, or ETF. So basically today, a federal appeals court ruled that the SEC's decision was arbitrary and ordered the SEC to actually reconsider its decision. So again, the ruling is likely to be appealed by the SEC, but I think the big thing here is it is a positive development for the crypto industry as a whole. It's a major victory for Grayscale and a lot of the other players in the space, like your BlackRocks, et cetera, that we talked about a couple weeks ago, because it could really pave the way for the approval of other spot Bitcoin ETFs, which would make it easier for investors to buy, sell Bitcoin through those traditional brokerage accounts and really get some of these new users or people involved in the space. So that's kind of the big news that came out today. Any initial gut thoughts on that, boys?
I just think it's a real big blemish on the SEC if this kind of continues to roll out with how they initially denied it, because essentially they're saying that the reason why they denied it is pretty much arbitrary. So there is no reason why they should have denied. Nothing that they at least documented. And that's how this originally started. When they were denied, Grayscale was pretty surprised by that. And then when they went to confront the SEC couldn't really give them a good answer. Leads to this lawsuit, and it just makes you wonder why the SEC has such a kind of vendetta against crypto and what the actual reason is. So hopefully that unfolds in the next year or so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely pretty interesting when you see, the amount of applications they've accepted when you're talking about BlackRock and some of the other firms that have, sent in Bitcoin spot ETF applications. And so, yeah, I'd be interested to see if they come back and say something around like the surveillance sharing agreements that are in place with some of these applications when you're talking about BlackRock and their work with Coinbase and their application. So, maybe there's some new adjustments that Grayscale needs to make, but yeah, pretty crazy. It also just feels a little cyclical that, they sued the SEC to get an answer, and now we have to wait for the SEC again, and who knows, if they'll come back. Gary, I don't trust Gary Gensler at all to like come back with a legitimate reason for why, he denied this, but I still think this is a great step for crypto and hopefully getting that Bitcoin ETF pushed through soon here.
Yeah, moving at the speed of government, they say. So we love that.
Slower than molasses. It's just so slow. No, I completely agree with everything you guys were saying. For me, it's kind of an opportunity to zoom out. And when you zoom out, you really start to realize that regardless of all the, day-to-day noise, the news here, the news there from month to month, the reality of the situation is that there are some huge money managers and huge institutions that are sitting here basically trying to front run this Bitcoin ETF and get their hands on it, right? And when you zoom out, that is nothing but bullish for the entire industry. The reality is, like, the main inflows that we're going to see when we talk about institutional adoption is going to come from something like this being adopted. And so anything that furthers that and also dampens what the SEC is trying to do on the opposite side is bullish for crypto. So, there's days where, bad stuff happens, there's hacks, there's things that we cover on this channel where it's like not necessarily super positive all the time. But this for me is just a reminder that if you zoom out, the reality is the big money managers are basically fighting over who can stake their claim in this industry, and that's nothing but good for us. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and it's, I guess, a topic that I'd love to get your guys' take on, right? I mean, we've seen the SEC kind of go up against a couple different failures here, right? We saw the XRP case where XRP kind of came out winning there to an extent, right? Same here with Grayscale. It's kind of both of those are circling back to the SEC. It's going to get, appealed. But I guess, what do you feel like this means for the future of regulation of cryptocurrencies in general? Do you think it's going to be the SEC starts to back down a little bit from this and, take that approach? Or do you think they're going to be coming at it stronger than ever?
I would say that, I think while this is definitely a win for crypto, it probably doesn't have as big of implications as maybe like the XRP case. And so something that I think shouldn't be overestimated is kind of how much of a snake Gary Gensler can be to the crypto sphere. Like he could continue to reject applications and not give any feedback, then be sued again and have to go through this. I don't believe there's really any payback any implications for the SEC not giving a valid reason for why this is denied. And so I think if we see this again, which I wouldn't be surprised, like I'm saying, there really needs to be implications for the SEC not creating clear guidance on this type of legislations or bringing new products into traditional finance. Excuse me. And so, while I don't think this is a big win, I think it's a good step forward in basically putting down ground rules to work with these government agencies, because it seems like there's just been none. That's what Brian Armstrong has talked about for years now, and that, spearheading that Coinbase fight. And so I think it's just small steps like that slowly get us closer to really having the guardrails that we need to take crypto to the masses.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because a lot of the ground rules and the groundwork that needs to be done is from a legal standpoint, setting precedents so that when there's more cases that come, they can then reference the XRP case, reference BlackRock, reference Grayscale, whatever the case may be. They can, reference that from a legal standpoint and have precedents from prior cases, which we never had before. So that's why XRP, to Ev's point, is probably the most landmark crypto case, because it has the biggest ability to then affect cases in the future because of the precedents it's set. So from a regulatory standpoint, and then also, these legal battles, like, we're going to be setting some serious groundwork in the next 5 years. And hopefully, I think to Zoe's point, hopefully it's ultimately going to be a good thing, but it's going to be a rocky road. So be curious to see what happens.
Yeah, from my perspective, I mean, it really makes you wonder, like, we all sit here and we're like, what is the SEC like coming after these guys with? And it's nice to see that the separation of power is actually working in some capacity here, where, like, it looks like from the judge's perspective in both the XRP case and in this case, like, the SEC just didn't have enough for the claim that they were trying to make, and, like, for the stance that they have. So that's why they seemingly are losing these cases, right? And of course, it'll be appealed and go through that whole process, and we'll have to sit that out and wait and see. But at least the initial readings here is like, okay, I mean, the SEC is like taking their shots, but they don't really have, a lot of bite when it comes to it. It seems like it's mostly bark. So yeah, that's my takeaway.
No, I think I really agree with everything that you all have said here. I think it'll be interesting to see how they react to this. I think kind of the direction that I was leading with the question is, are they going to be more aggressive now, or are they going to take a step back from it? And if they can't come to your point, Sam, if they can't come to the table with anything to really prove their case, I can see them kind of starting to take a step back. And then you wonder, okay, what sort of big money is involved at this point, that sort of thing. So I guess the narrative switches a little bit. So definitely interested to see how this goes, but no real idea, honestly.
For sure. Awesome. Well, that's it for this episode on Wagmi TV. If you found any of this useful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let us know what you think of this development. Let us know if you think that Grayscale, is going to get the ETF through, and just generally what you think of the whole case. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Wagmi TV.